Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This week I'm going to be talking about should I move to Phoenix, Arizona? Top 5 pros and cons, why I should, why I shouldn't. Stay tuned for this video.
Am I awake or am I dreaming?
Alright guys, so if you've been following along the last couple of weeks, you probably know that I've been considering where to relocate to next. I love Seattle, however, it is getting quite expensive to be honest with you, and I miss the sun. Yes, I miss the sunshine we had in South Florida. However, West Coast, best coast, let's just say. So I have the opportunity to visit a few other cities where I've been making connections. Las Vegas being one of them. I featured that a few weeks ago. I'll drop that video in the comments in case you'd like to check it out. And another city I'm thinking about, which is Phoenix, Arizona. So I have not yet gone to visit Phoenix, Arizona. So what I wanted to do this week was a little something different and show you my research, top 5 pros and cons. Drop a note in the comments if you agree or disagree, or if I miss anything. So that way when I visit Phoenix, Arizona, we have a little bit of some backing with what we're looking at in terms of the market and if it's a good place to live or not. So this week, I'm going to start off with the top 5 pros and cons of living or moving to Phoenix, Arizona. Guys, if you haven't noticed, there's a trend here. Number 1 is no winter weather. Okay, I got a little taste of it again moving back to Seattle this past winter, and I was not thrilled, to say the least. I made it work. However, it was really cold, and I didn't like that. So having pretty much mild winters, if no winters whatsoever, sounds really appealing to me. So Las Vegas had it. And of course, Phoenix, Arizona is another location that's very popular with retirees, snowbirds, just like in South Florida, with people that don't want to deal with winter weather. So that's number 1. And based on my research, the winter months actually pretty much the highs stay within the 70 range. I'm sure there are some colder temperatures, however, nothing in comparison to what it's like here up north. Another thing that caught my eye about the winter just really fast is the fact that it's pretty much dry year-round except for a short monsoon season, which leads me to believe that there will be some moments of some downpour for then to be followed by dry days, which is great for me having lived in very wet climates such as Seattle and Miami. Another thing that's great about Phoenix, Arizona, which would be number 2, is the beautiful landscapes and the terrain, not to mention the location. So obviously location-wise, it borders California, Utah, New Mexico, and the country of Mexico. Did I miss anything? I don't think I did. Or did I say Nevada? So, and obviously you've got the Grand Canyon. So if you've ever been a tourist in Las Vegas, you actually have the opportunity a lot of times to drive over to Phoenix, or to Arizona rather, and to check out the Grand Canyon. It is breathtaking, one of the most majestic things I've ever witnessed in my life, and I love that place, so who wouldn't want to be closer? Another thing to note, obviously with proximity to California, Nevada, Utah, New Mexico, and Mexico, is it could be the starting point or the launch pad for any road trip ideas you have brewing. So if you like to take road trips, it's a great central location. I love to travel. I've been loving my ability to travel more and more within the United States since the pandemic begun. So that's super cool to think that it could be a great starting point for us. And then of course, as I was just talking about the Grand Canyon, Arizona is actually home to at least 22 national parks, which is really great. If you are an outdoorsy person like me and you love to explore, then this is going to be a great state for you. And then as for pro number 3, again, talking about the national cost of living average, Phoenix, Arizona is pretty much on the low end, just like in Las Vegas. It's only about 3.7% above the national average, unlike the 49% we were seeing in Seattle a few weeks back and 14% like we were seeing in Miami. So much more affordable when you think about cost of living. And number 4, another pro, is a lot of job opportunities if you're in the tech industry, healthcare, and obviously tourism. So that's super important to think about, especially if you're going to be investing in real estate. I often like to think of job opportunity. Are there going to be people coming in, you know, whether moving in, moving out, that actually can afford cost of living and could potentially be a good qualified tenant? So if that's something important to you, it's definitely a plus. And then lastly, number 5 pro tip is the fact that obviously being in Arizona, it's very outdoors friendly. So if you like hiking, biking, rollerblading, you name it, obviously going to state parks, this is definitely going to be right up your alley. And of course, I forgot to mention golfing. That's why a lot of retirees love going to Arizona and retiring, because if you like to golf, it's a great place for you. All right, talking about the cons. Top 5 cons is, yes, the winter is great because it's very mild and non-existent. Therefore, the summers are very, very brutal. Just like in South Florida and in Las Vegas, you can't escape it. The summers are always going to be brutal. However, there's going to be air conditioning, so that's great. Unlike in Seattle, Washington, where we don't have air conditioning, historically speaking, more and more families are putting them in their homes. Great for the 2 days of 100-degree weather. However, it can be brutal without air conditioning. So thankfully, Phoenix, Arizona is one of those places you can expect to see air conditioning for the brutal summer heat. And another thing is, if you're somebody that likes variety, you're probably not going to be super fond of the barren landscapes. You get a lot of the same old thing. If you look out into the distance and see the same bush over and over again, and maybe some mountains in the background. It's a little bit like how Las Vegas is, to be honest. However, again, what's more important to you? For me, is it as lush as South Florida or Seattle? No. However, for me, the weather is great. So, and the third con that I was finding in my research is the lack of public transportation, which is just really a bummer because, let's be honest, most cities in the United States aren't great when it comes to public transportation. Very few are. So if you're somebody that doesn't want to rely on a car, you definitely want to take that into consideration if you're thinking about moving to Phoenix. And number 4 con is dust storms. I actually had my first dust storm experience in Las Vegas, Nevada, about 2 weeks ago. And I was like, what the heck is happening? So yes, you can get sand in your eyes and your nose and your hair. Probably just don't be outside during a dust storm. So that's interesting. There aren't rainstorms, really. There are dust storms. So that is a very different type of storm to worry about. And then lastly, once again, talking about lack of variety would be the fact that there's pretty much only one season, right? So there's just no variety in seasons. If you're somebody that looks forward to when fall comes along, sweater weather and all that, you might get to whip out the sweater for one cold day or the second cold day. However, after that, it gets pretty much the same temperature. So if you like variety, just take that into consideration. It's not going to be as diverse in seasons as a place like Seattle or, New York, for instance. So anyway, thanks guys for tuning into this week's video. Very quick little pros and cons as I'm researching where we potentially relocate to next. So drop a note in the comments if you have any questions or any recommendations. If you have a city you'd like me to check out, do some research in, potentially visit, I'm happy to do so. And always guys, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos just like this.
You're like a circle that floats around.